Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, Goodwill Ambassador Michael Henderson helped raise thousands of dollars for Respite Center repairs, a more strategic approach to Mass Dominic 2020 amid calls for greater support from the business community, and Antigua bars cruise ship Aida Perla from docking due to coronavirus concerns. The details coming up.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
First stop in the news, over $12,000 raised towards refurbishing the Respite Center in Portsmouth. Here is Andrea Louis with more.
The Respite Center is located in Chance, Portsmouth, and initially served as a daycare facility for physically and mentally challenged children. However, following Hurricane Maria in 2017, the center was used as a shelter, and to date its original operations have not resumed. Upon hearing the plight of the center and its impact on children and families, Dominica's Princess of Song and Goodwill Ambassador Michael Henderson Del Sol hosted a fundraising concert aboard the Freewinds ship for this cause.
I was very touched that there was an organization providing services for children with disabilities and their parents. And so on the 25th, we had a fantastic event. Many people showed up. And all in all, we had some guest performers as well. Musicians performed for free. The Freewinds gave us the venue and the band for free. I performed for free. And we all put together and raised the funds needed for this event. We also had some donations from some very benevolent donors, some who want to remain anonymous. I'm not going to call names. But we had quite a few thousands of dollars donated towards this effort as well, in addition to the sales of our tickets. So today, I'm here to present to Mr. Irish, who is the president of PASSIS, a check in the amount of $12,678.50, which reflects the ticket sales and donations that we received, minus some very small expenses that we had.
Ainsworth Irish, president of PASSIS, that is Parents Advocating for the Inclusion of Children with Disabilities in Society, says repairs to the building cost in excess of $15,000.
PASSIS suffered some serious damage at our center in Portsmouth. The edifice, a lovely edifice, which we had in Portsmouth for the children with disability, suffered some severe damage during the passage of Hurricane Maria. And then subsequent to that, the place was vandalized. Then we had a survey done and found that we needed some $15,000 to effect repairs so that the operations could come back, to mark. Michael gave all her free time, her artists, the music, the band, and Freewind. They came on board and did that show. The tickets went on sale. And really, we expected maybe to get about $5,000 or $7,000. But here it is, you just heard the figure. She absorbed all the cost and gave us everything, $12,678.50. And I mean, this is just, I cannot find words to express my gratitude.
If all goes according to plan, the Respite Center should reopen in March 2020. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Minister for Tourism has called on the business community to support the country's tourism product. Minister Denise Charles was speaking at the launching of Shannon Saint-Hilaire, who is representing the community of Soufrière Scotshead. Ms. Charles urged the business community to invest in the country's carnival product to help boost the country's overall tourism product.
Carnival is a season that brings us together as a people. Let us continue to patronize the various events and keep the real mass, the best carnival in the region, on point. I want to continue to employ on the private sector to join hands with DDA as we continue to make our carnival, to make Dominica the leading destination in the OECS.
The tourism minister called on the wider Dominican community or public to play their part in promoting the country as a top tourism destination.
We have a natural advantage as a country because of our forestry, rivers, lakes, sulfur springs, food, culture, and carnivals. I need each and every Dominican to be a marketing agent of our country. Visit our natural attractions and share your wonderful experiences on social media. Feedback for improvement should be sent to the Ministry of Tourism or the Office of DDA. But when we speak of our country, we must always say the best things and be the best promoters of Dominica.
Minister Charles, who took up the portfolio of tourism, international transport and maritime initiatives last year, says she is still meeting with stakeholders on how to further enhance the Dominica brand. Still along the lines of tourism, the cruise ship Aida Perla, which was denied entry in St. Lucia and Dominica over the weekend, was not allowed to make its scheduled call to Antigua on Tuesday. Antigua and Barbuda has become the latest CARICOM country to prevent the cruise ship with more than 3,000 passengers on board from docking. The Ministry of Health there cited insufficient information from the vessel to make a proper assessment of the health situation on board. But St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has defended a decision to allow the vessel to enter the Kingstown harbour. He said, quote, "We have to act sensibly with the protocols and don't panic," adding that on board the ship there were 23. He says there were 23 persons who had some kind of virus. He said the crew members and passengers concerned were isolated on the ship. Gonsalves said they basically allowed those who wanted to come off the ship to do so. Meantime, the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association FCCA has outlined measures it plans to implement to minimize transmission of the coronavirus. The FCCA was among stakeholders weighing in on an emergency meeting of CARICOM's Council for Human and Social Development held via video conference. Health ministers and officials of the region have agreed to draft an aggressive communication strategy to combat misinformation on the coronavirus. The ministers agreed that the comprehensive communication strategy would address misinformation about the virus and provide correct information on how the situation is being addressed. This strategy will target various audiences and include information about the ways in which the virus can be prevented, transmitted, and controlled. It was also recommended at the meeting that the region agree to a coordinated standard approach for handling of entry to air and seaports. Issues such as the roles and functions of personnel at the ports, transporting of samples for testing, dialogue with airlines and cruise lines, and the action to be taken before, during, and after an outbreak were all discussed. Member states have agreed that they will continue to monitor the situation as it evolves internationally and are on standby to meet again as required. You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better. A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD, all for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Thank you for staying with us. A more strategic approach to Mass Dominic 2020, Andrea Louis explains.
This in an effort to boost visitor arrivals and create a better carnival experience for visitors and locals alike. Festival and Events Manager of the Dominica Festivals Committee, Marva Williams, says the decision to tweak Mass Dominic 2020 came about as a result of last year's experience.
This year, just like 2019, the Dominica Festivals Committee decided to take a more strategic approach towards presenting Dominica's Carnival by taking away a segregated carnival but making a more unified carnival. Thus the reason for Carnival City and the many stakeholders who will be utilizing the venue to put on their events. Carnival is now a diverse product offering for export. We invite the world to join us. Let's remain focused and vigilant.
Ms. Williams highlighted an addition to the carnival calendar, which the DFC hopes will become a consistent feature in years to come.
We also decided to introduce a new event based on patrons' demand, and that event is dubbed Subrax. Of course, the Bouillon Boss, the Wet Fed King, and the recently dubbed Goodwill Ambassador Asa Banton is the face of Sunrise and has been helping the DFC to put out the information to promote and entice patrons to come. Of course, it is our first offering. There are many lessons to be learned, but it is our intention to improve this event as it becomes a staple in the carnival calendar.
Another means of diversifying the carnival activities is the hosting of a kiddies carnival to get more children involved in the carnival culture.
In 2019 and 2020, we reintroduced Kiddies Carnival taking place on Carnival Sunday. This year, the event is being brought to you in partnership with JCI Dominica and will take place at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, Carnival City, from midday to 6 p.m. We are asking parents to allow your children to form part of this grand spectacle as they are the foundation of continuing Dominica's Carnival.
Mass Dominic 2020 officially opened on Saturday, 18th January and runs until Wednesday, 26th February.
Antiguan students at university in China reportedly safe at this time. The welfare of these students, including those from Dominica, has been brought front and center since the outbreak of the coronavirus in China. In Dominica's case, the Minister of Health has reassured the nation that Dominican students at university in China are safe. One ABS News report out of Antigua indicates that, like their Dominican counterparts, Antiguan students in China are also doing well.
The coronavirus continues to spread through the People's Republic of China, and people living there are being urged by the authority to take precautions. Among the population in China are Antiguan students studying in universities. Shannon Matthew, a first-year student living in the capital, Beijing, says following strict precautions help her to keep safe.
I'm a bit uneasy, but not panicked about it. The uneasiness comes from being because we're so close to the epicenter of the outbreak, but it's not alarming because the authorities have made sure to give us all the information we need to stay safe and understand what's happening.
The students say they have not come across anyone in their vicinity with the virus. Two other Antiguans, Tariq Kinnesberger and Jermaine Winfield, studying in China, also shared their thoughts.
At my university that often, and because of the current epidemic, lots of universities are prohibiting students from traveling. Students who would have already left the country or the city or the university in general, when they return, they have to undergo a 14-day quarantine period. At my university, they're currently doing temperature checks every morning once you leave the dormitories or the actual campus, upon return, you have to do temperature checks and sign in. They're trying to keep this under control. I try to stay away from propaganda and anything that doesn't come from an official source.
We've been told that as of right now, Beijing is a little bit under the radar, just around 91 people currently infected with the virus. So it doesn't pose a big threat to us at this time. But of course, we do have to, continue using our safety measures. Well, currently, I'm not in fear whatsoever. I have not traveled to the epicenter of the disease, which is the Wuhan area. I have traveled to Tianjin, which is actually really close to Beijing. That was about 2 weeks ago when our break recently started. And of course, the incubation period for the virus is around 2 weeks. So I would have by now at least, shown symptoms. So I have no symptoms. So it's safe to say that I am free. Of course, the university does do daily medical checks. They check our temperature and so on, just to make sure that everything is fine with us.
While it remains a wait-and-see period for these students and so many more Antiguans in China, they say they know what is required of them at this point, and they know the do's and don'ts. They also tell us they will be relying on the information available to get them through this difficult period.
And China's leader, Xi Jinping, has signaled a more assertive strategy for dealing with the coronavirus epidemic. His convening of a second special Communist Party meeting on Monday was only his second public appearance since the government in Wuhan, the city at the epicenter of the outbreak, took the extraordinary step of locking down the city on January 23. Mr. Xi sent Premier Li Keqiang to Wuhan more than a week ago, when the death toll stood at 106. By Tuesday, the toll in China was more than 420 deaths. The Chinese government has reported over 20,000 confirmed cases, roughly 15,000 more than during the SARS outbreak, according to the World Health Organization. According to state-run media, the Chinese president called the crisis a major test of China's system and capacity for governance. His comments underline the scale of the crisis and represent at least an implicit acknowledgement that the system has fallen short in some areas. The Chinese president warned officials not to resist orders or to let bureaucratism slow government efforts to bring the outbreak under control. He said those who disobey the command or shirk off responsibilities will be punished. To end the news, a look again at the headlines. Goodwill Ambassador Michael Henderson helps raise thousands of dollars for Respite Center repairs. A more strategic approach to Mass Dominic 2020 amid calls for greater support from the business community. And Antigua bars cruise ship Aida Perla from docking due to coronavirus concerns. You may access the Channel 5 News on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.